Have here is we have a whole bunch of buffalo nickels we're looking at. I don't know if you can see these. This is what we're going to be looking at right now is buffalo nickels. So I have an assortment selection. As you can see, I've been dating these all. I've actually spent a bit of time pulling them out. So I've got everything from 38 back to the 1917, I think is the oldest I have. I think that's, I'll pull this one up right here. (1917). So I've been pulling them out just to have a look at them. So what we're looking at is the buffalo nickel. These were done from 1913 to 1938. The buffalo nickels. They were, obviously they're cherished. They have basically on one side they've got the buffalo. See from this side, the buffalo. And the other side they have the Native American Indian there. And these were designed by James Earle Fraser. So kind of a bit of a collector piece. There is basically, you know, some people say, you know, obviously if it doesn't have a mint mark, it's special, but there's tons of ones that don't. I'll show you. So stuff like this is hard to, no date. We're not really looking for that. We're looking for more stuff that has a date mark like this. As you can see there. There's some notable buffalo nickel errors. 1914 over the 3. There's a double die from 1916. There's a double die reverse in 35. The 36 and the 37 are probably most noticeable because they have to deal with the buffalo having 3.5 legs or 3 legs. So the 36 has 3.5 legs, which is this one. This isn't 3.5 legs, but it's this particular one. And then the 37 only had not all, but some had 3 legs. So the 36 very sparse. I think there's maybe 300 that are known. So very, you know, obviously prestigious if you can find one, and the 37 leg as well. So I've actually got, as you can see over here, I've got some, but I've also gone through and pulled out of my box a plethora, and I still haven't found anything yet. So I'd be interested to know if anybody's found 3.5 or 3-legged buffalo from the 36, 37, because that would be definitely something I'd be interested in. So as I was saying, that we are looking at them, so I'm using a microscope to look at it, as well as I have a pair of glasses which I can go closer up. We also, so I have this box, this crazy box. So I'm just talking about this box here for a second. So I've got this box here, which is a plethora of nickels from probably early to 1917, because I've actually found some early stuff. So I'll just show you. I found some Victory, sorry. So if I bring it up here, this is what I've been pulling out as well. So 1904. The Liberty. So out of this, I've got a whole bunch of these Liberty stuff I've been pulling out, and which is unique, as well as I've been pulling out some silver. So this is all sorts of stuff in here. I'll just pop this out of this case here. So this is a, let's have a look here. This is San Francisco, large S, 1943. Right there. So we're pulling this out of there as well. It's in pretty good shape. So as I said, we're looking through the 37s, 7s. And this is what we've found so far. Well, I haven't found, but this is what I'm looking through. So I'm looking through this huge box here. For the buffalo nickels. So sometimes there's a bit of misconception if one of these is found without a date. I'll just bring this one up. Let's see. This is kind of maybe a good example. 37. Well, that's actually a 27. Let's see if I can find something. That's 20. Now I can't find one that actually doesn't have a date. Okay, so something like this. Now this is a classic example of a buffalo nickel. It's very worn, as you can see, but it doesn't have a date mark on it. Now this is not indicative of something that's actually rare. What it is just missing the date on it. The date obviously is easy and worn out, so it's easy for my finger to just rub it. And see, these are 80, 90 years old, and so just over where the date was the highest aspect of this coin, and it's been worn out. And even like, let's see if you can see let's see if I have any ones with the, you can see there's a San Francisco mint right there, the S. So Denver or San Francisco that were producing these. I'd be curious if, like I said, I have a plethora of them right here, which I've been going through. I started last night going through these. I've got a plethora of 35s, and I know that in the 34s, I think there's a small and large D. I don't have a huge amount of 34s. Now I thought maybe that's what I could do right now is take these 34s and we'll have a look at them since I've got a bit of them, and I'll just bring them under the microscope here. We'll bring the microscope up and we'll kind of go through and see if we can find the D or S. These aren't any great, so these are quite worn. D. No mintage marking. Sorry, where it's. So these are probably San Francisco's. Although that kind of looks like an S. So nothing. Nothing. Just put these back. These are the 34s. I said we're going to be just looking quickly for small D or large D again. So maybe let's get it closer here. This is something we're looking that's quite small. So that does look like a D, but again, it's very worn out. Nothing on that one. That's a good size D there. That would to me would be a large D. Again, I haven't found a small D. So that would be, there'd be a nice large D for that one. Large D. And it's probably a large D there. It's pretty worn out there. So you see all those ones are large Ds. And those are the 34s, which I didn't see anything in there that was giving anything of uniqueness. But again, we're looking for was a small d and big D, the 34. So I'm just going to come back here, adjust this up, and wait with me, patience. And this was the 1930, this is the 36 we're looking at right now, because the 36, as I said, had the buffalo with half a leg, 3.5 legs, not half a leg, but had 3.5 legs. So if you look at the picture here, this front leg right here would be just a half a leg. And then for the 37, it would just be 3 legs. So it would be missing that complete leg right there. Now, I haven't found anything, as I said, even though I have this plethora of coins here. You can see. And those are majority of these. The majority of these are buffalo nickels. I don't know if you can see this. So there's buffalo nickels in here. Got some other stuff, but the majority of it is buffalo nickels. And I'm going through that, taking the dates out. There's 29. Some of the dates are easier to see than others. Obviously they're worn out, 37. And then I'm going to go through afterwards and look for errors in them. So I guess my curiosity is, does anybody think, what's the cost of a handful of these? Just at book value here. Now I would think that most of these would be worth at least a couple bucks, because they are, the rarity of them, and everyone enjoys having a buffalo nickel. So when I'm finished with them and I'm ready to put them away, like I said, I put them away in one of these cases. To me, this is probably your best bet. This is very sturdy. It locks away, and because I have multiples of them, I want to put them in something where I have a date, which I can go back and look at it as well. Because, as I said, I'm looking at these 36s. These are 36s and 2 37s. I'm going to go look through these afterwards and see if I can find a 3-legged buffalo possibility, and pull out possibly and make another tube, which will be Denver and San Francisco, so we have the differences. But at the moment, I'm just working on sorting them out for dates at the moment from here, and from that I'll then go in and look at them more closely. As I said, I also have a plethora. There's not a plethora, but there's a good handful at the moment of these Liberty. You can see these Liberties here. So these are before the buffalo, so we're looking at like 1903, 1905, 1902. They're fairly worn. 1902, 04, 05. There's an 1890 right there. So there are, and then I've got something that's looking like, here's a 1905. I'll just bring this into the microscope here so we can have a look at it. There's a 1905. And when I'm looking at it just on the camera, it looks pretty good, but when I get back under here, it's got some bumps and everything to it. Quite a few scratches. Right? But again, that is a some good detail on that for the age of it. And 1905 Liberty 5-cent piece. There's a couple other ones. 1902. Now she's pretty worn out, but not doing too bad there. Let's get back to that. So, that's what we're looking at. I'd be curious if anybody's found, like, what's people's thoughts when they're looking for buffalo nickels. Do they buy it from a dealer, or are they going and buying singles? Are people capturing only like a few at a time, or are you buying a whole roll from somebody? I know that, like I said, I have a whole bin here which I'm going through, which will divide up into dates, so make it a little bit more easier to go through, and then hopefully can kind of assess going from there. So if anybody knows what you know a box of this would be worth, I'd be curious about that. And yeah, let me know in the comments if you would like to have one of these, or you're interested in buffalo nickels. $1929. So some of them are quite worn, others are in really good shape. 1935. I have a whole stash of 1935 ones, as you can see over here. There's 1935 over here. I got my little shit in there. 1935. And as I said, I'm going to go through afterwards, and then from there, look what I can find on the different dates. So again, just to refresh, we went through, got a box of buffalo nickels. They were created from, introduced 1913 to 1938. I've got a few 1938s, and I have, I don't have any of the early 1913s or so forth. I do have a 1917. I think that's the oldest thing I have here so far that I've found. What we're looking for is we're going to divide the dates and then go through afterwards and look for irregularities and error variations. As I said, the 36 and 37s are the most noticeable ones that are easy to, shouldn't say easy to find. They're most noticeable because it's the leg missing. There's a 35 double die reverse, and then there is a 34 small and large D. I have never seen that, so it's a bit curious to me. And then I know that the 1916, I think there's a double die on that one as well. So I guess, as I said, this misconception is that there's no date. When we looked at the dates on here, sometimes the date's missing, and that's just a worn out coin. It's not actually a coin of any great value, although it still could be a value if it's missing a buffalo leg, right? So it would probably, give some closer look, it might actually not be a worn out leg. It might be actually an error of the missing leg. So it could be a 36, 37. And I think the typical value, I would think the typical value for most of these would be a couple dollars. I mean, obviously, if you're just, getting out of a roll, it's worth a nickel. But I mean, people are always interested in these. So I think you can get a couple dollars for each one of these. I think the best way to find these would be, as I said, it's looking through nickel rolls. But then your other thing would be to source out people who have older collections where they might have pulled out the nickels already, these buffalo nickels. The nice thing about that is that they will not have been worn as much. They're basically sitting there, and hopefully they, or you can actually, get a good look at the key dates and so forth. Because something like the these key dates. I'm going to say key 37. I said it's more, there's more of them, but they might have a chance of finding something interesting. So if you're looking to find some, or if you're wanting to collect some, let us know. We can possibly get you some. Otherwise, thanks for joining, and have a